So, what do you mean you haven't slept? So you have not slept since sometime yesterday. So we're definitely not doing your test today. Is that what? That's what we're saying. Okay, well, we're not going to do your final exam if that's the case, so let's do some review because I'm not going to do a test if you've been up all night. So let's, fair enough. Okay. All right, you can see my screen. I am screen sharing. Let's take a look at some concepts. For example, if I have a set of ordered pairs like 3, and again, this is I'm just gonna pull from all kinds of areas of Math 10. How do we find the slope of something that has these 2 pairs? I know. One's off my laptop. It's kind of like blurry and kind of crappy. And the other one's on my screen that I'm screen sharing, which is this one, which is a better camera. So I've got another better camera that's like coming. This doesn't come till like Friday because yeah, the camera on my laptop sucks. So I'm trying to put 2 so that I have, because I'm trying to do one so that I have you on a big screen and then where I'm teaching you and me on another. But yeah, I only have one good camera for now. So here's my 2 points. How do I find the slope? Okay, so you want to go 3 minus a minus 8. Then what? Okay, so I have a couple things that I don't like about this. Let's talk about this for a second. The first of all, if we're finding slope, what does slope equal to? Exactly, it's rise over run. So if you're looking at the rise, where does rise come from, the x or the y value? Exactly. So if we want the rise, which is the y value, run, you're going horizontally, that's the x value. The points that you gave me, are these y values? Okay, let's try it again. Give me the y values. Yeah. So minus 2, am I minusing 5 or adding 5? Remember that slope formula, it was y2 minus y1 over x2, so we want to be minusing. So it's minus 2 minus 5. Okay, then what? You've given us our y values. What are our x values now? So 3, and again I'm subtracting. If I subtract a negative 8, work the math out. What is our slope now? What's minus 2 minus 5 more? Minus 2. You owe your dad 2 and you owe your mom 5. You're down 2 and 5. You don't owe minus 3. You owe... No. Minus 7. If you owe somebody $2 and you owe somebody else $5, you owe minus 7. Okay, what is 3 subtract a negative 8? Should have had a nap. I had a nap. Well, I'll try to make this painless as possible. At least there's no marks for it. It's just review. But what happens when we subtract a negative number? Becomes addition. So it's 3 plus 8. Yeah. Okay, so there's our slope. So that's the slope using the formula from 2 sets of points. If we had had a graph, let's take a look at a graph. Pretend my lines are straight, don't judge me. 1, 2. Let's put one there. And let's put one down here. Again, don't judge me about my lines because my lines kind of suck. How would I write the equation of the line for this one? What's the formula for a linear equation? Okay, so if we have y equals mx plus b, looking at this very badly drawn graph that I did, how do we write the equation of this line? What is our slope? In fact, I'm going to make this a little easier on you because I drew one that's going to make you anticipate the y-intercept. I'm going to give you an easier one. Let's give you a point here. There. Well, if you haven't slept all night, then that makes sense. Okay, this is supposed to be a straight line. Doesn't look like it. But what's the slope of it? How do we get the slope? Rise over run, right? What is the rise from the one point to the other point? We rose 3, good. And my run was also 3. Okay, there we go. So my slope is therefore 3 divided by 3 is 1. So y equals, here's my slope, 1x. What's my y-intercept? Look at the graph. Plus or minus. I went to the positive side. I don't know. We went to the minus side. So this would have been a graph of an x, y equals x minus 3. Okay. I'm glad we're not doing your final exam today. All right, let's try. Let's say we have two equations. 3x plus 2y equals, well, actually I'm going to go into Excel, otherwise I might end up with fractions, which will be even worse, and then you'll hate me because they're fractions. So let's not. Did you stay up for the whole midnight countdown? Well, not me. Did you have like a friend come over? Where did you have your celebration? Okay. I was in bed by probably 10. But, you know, that's what happens when you get old. Okay, let's go. Systems of linear equations. Solve a system. Let's go with this one. An all-nighter. So did you have like a friend sleep over and then just go home? Oh, you mean 5 p.m.? How do you go to bed at 5 a.m.? Ugh. I'm probably awake when most people are sleeping, I would say. Okay, let's try this one. Alright, we have solve using elimination. So, how do we solve a systems of equations when we have two linear systems? What do you remember about these? Well, no, it's not factoring. It's not a box method. This is when like, if we have two variables, how do we solve for both variables? So to get rid of one of the variables, either x or y, we need to have that leading coefficient the same. Do we have a leading coefficient the same in front of either one of the x or the y's? Yeah, in front of the y. So, okay, so we're happy with that. We don't need to change any of the equations. Would I add or subtract these to make these y's disappear? Not times and add it, because I want the y's to disappear. So if I have 4y and I have a 4y here, if I do 4 plus 4, I'm going to have 8. That's not going to make them go away. So I have to do 4 minus 4. That's going to make those disappear. Okay, so now do that on everything else. What is a minus x? What happens if we have minus 1 and we subtract a negative 4? I was sleeping aloud. What's minus 1 subtract negative 4? If we're subtracting a negative 4, take a look at the screen. What happens when we subtract a negative number? Turns into addition. So what is minus 1 plus 4? Yes. Okay, on the right side of the equation we have, again, subtraction. So 7 minus 16. What's 7 take away 16? Negative 9, exactly. Okay, what would I do next to solve for x? How do I get it by itself here? By, yeah, so divide both sides by 3. What does x equal? 3, not just 3, but I had a, watch your integers, I have a negative and a positive. Okay, so if x equals negative 3, how do I get the value for y? You found one of them. How do I get the y value now? Because when we're solving for an x value and a y value. into the x, right. Do you want to put it into the first equation or second? Yeah, doesn't matter. Okay, so put it into the first. So we have a negative, x is now negative 3 plus 4y equals 7. All right. How do we solve for y? I hope you go to bed after this. Well, it's math, so, you know. Happy New Year. Well, don't worry about it. It's review. It's good. You got this. What happens when you subtract a negative number? Becomes a positive, right? So we got 3 plus 4y equals 7. What do you do next? We're not ready for dividing. Close. Not minus 7, because if I'm minus 7, I'm bringing it over to the left side, but I want y by itself. I got a minus 3. Got to get rid of that. Yes. Okay, so 4y now equals 7 minus 3. You got this. 7 minus 3. You can do this. Yes. Yes. Okay. Now, how do I get y by itself and get rid of the 4 that's attached to it? Yes. All right. As you climb yourself back up on your chair, we can say that y now equals 4 divided by 4, which is 1. So we have our x value, we have our y value. All right, there is solving a systems of equations. Let me give you another thing that you should know before your final exam. I'm going to draw you a graph here. Is this a function? Is that a function? Yay or nay? You don't think it's a function? Talk to me about a function. What is a function? Well, if it goes through two lines, you're talking about like if I had a vertical line? You kind of have the right idea. If it passes this vertical line test, if it doesn't pass through 2 points, it is a function. Does this one pass through 2 points on this vertical line? No, so it is a function. What if I was to do like a circle? Is that a function? But what happens to if it passes through here and here on that vertical line? No, we don't want it to pass through 2. Right? Like the red line only passed through 1, so that was good. That was a function. But as a circle, it's going to fail on the vertical line test, so that's not a function. No, that's the way we want to go. So if we were to look at, say, ordered pairs, let's say my pairs were 3, 5, 5 minus 8, 4, 6. Is that a function? There's no solving. No, you just take a look at it and say, can that be a function? Remember what we just had in the graph, right? The graph, if we looked at a graph, it was not a function if it passed through 2 points on a vertical line. If it passed through 2 points on a vertical line, that meant that the x values were the same. So if you have the same x value, it can't be a function. So without doing any math and just taking a look at this, is this a function? There's no x values that repeated here. So this was fine. This was, yes, this was a function. Okay, what about is that a function? Why not? Right, all of those x values repeat. So it is not. Okay, let's take a look at quick trigonometry review. Using your calculator, find me the angle that would exist in that corner. This is mostly you. You got to do the work on this because this is a final exam type question. How do you get the angle? So I've already done the work. I've already labeled the sides, figured out the function, done the division. Now it's up to you. Tell me what you get, and I'll let you know if you got it right. Don't die yet. I realize it's New Year's and it's tough. But this is the most recent stuff you've done, so you should be able to do this. You tell me, label the sides, figure out the function, tell me the angle. It's not a hypopotamus, no. What do we call the side that is here? Adjacent, good. I'll do ADJ. What do we call this side? Okay, and then so we don't even care about that hippopotamus side you're talking about, the hypotenuse. Hypotenuse. If you want to say hippopotamus, that's fine too, but it's hypotenuse. Okay, so you've got an adjacent side, you've got an opposite side. Which function should we be using for trig? And TOA is for, how do you write it out? TOA stands for what? Tangent. So how do I write the equation to solve for this angle? Okay, good. And what do you get? That's okay. 56.98, yes. So if I was going to the nearest degree, I'd probably just say 57 degrees, but I'm happy with that. Okay, so we have that one. What is the other angle in this triangle? You found theta. What is the angle in this corner? What is a triangle? What are the degrees add up to? .360 is for a circle. What about a triangle? Okay, so if we've already got, if we know that triangle has to add to 180, we've already calculated this angle is 57 based on our opposite and adjacent. How do I get that missing angle? Okay, what am I going to subtract? 57, and what is the angle that's in this corner? No, for us to do trigonometry, what does that symbol actually mean in a triangle? In every triangle, that's a right angle. A right angle means 90 degrees. Okay, so subtract those from 180. You don't have your normal blinds behind you with the background. What's going on? Oh, is it? I thought you were in a different room. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? That's what I thought. There we go. Okay, so we've got, as far as solving this triangle, we have all three angles. We have two sides. What if we wanted to find out what is this side here? How do we get that side? The one with the big X. How do we get the X side?